Now they can hear us. Perfect. Welcome everyone to tonight's mandatory fun time, the first interview of 2022. I am super excited to be joined by Guilty Cosplay, who is a homie of mine. And I was telling you before we went live that this interview is one of my favorites because it's like, I know you, I've worked with you for literally multiple hours of like creative TTRPG stuff, but I don't know you, so this would be a great opportunity to get to know more about you. So thank you for being
Yeah,
here.
absolutely. I'm super excited.
Yeah. So even though I at least know of you and I know your brand, could you please take a moment to introduce everyone to who you are and what you do?
Absolutely. Hello, y'all. I'm Guilty Cosplay. I am a streamer, content creator, cosplayer, and tabletop RPG um, player and GM. Um, I also stream music sometimes, and um, kind of started my guilty cosplayism on Instagram and then transitioned over to Twitch. And um, from here, I don't know what's next, but I'm enjoying it so far.
That you're a creative soul. We're here for it. We love
Thanks.
it. So that's good. That's perfect. So, one question I always love to ask my guests is, what is your origin story? Like, how did you get into all of this? Now, it can be it's kind of like twofold because
Mhm.
one, when it comes to music, art, writing, all this kind of stuff, was it like you yourself that got into it, or did you have a family member kind of introduce you to this sort of creative field and everything?
Yeah, that's a good point. A lot of people have like creative families. I definitely do. In my mom, she was the reason that we had like music in the house growing up. Started playing the piano really young, like 6 or 7, 5 or 6 years old.
Yeah.
um, and have always loved that. But she's also an artist, in like the traditional like watercolor and like sketching, that sort of sense. So I think my early inclination towards cosplay came from the art all around me, and also uh, hand sewn Halloween costumes every year, which I realize like as an adult that is not the norm, but super thankful to have
Right.
that growing up. But yeah, no, our Halloween tradition was to like go to um Joanne's or gosh, no, what was it? It was, I think a store is now extinct in the Midwest, but it was a bit
Oh.
Hancock Fabrics.
Oh, weird. I
We
think
went
I've
to
heard of that, but I've never
Hancock
seen it. Yeah.
Fabric. Yeah. Like 6 weeks before Halloween, and flipped through the pattern books, and like picked out a pattern. And it was probably also like a clever way to get us to do math and stuff, because then we had to like measure ourselves and
Yeah.
figure out what size we were, and then go buy fabric by the yard. And um we're not involved really in the sewing process.
Probably for good
I
reason.
think we
Yeah.
could have just muddled things up, my sister and I. But yeah, all the rest of it was very ingrained in me. It's like, this is how you make um, fun clothes. You
Yeah.
like start from the beginning with the pattern, and then you find the fabric, and then later it also uh, kind of transformed into what can we get from Goodwill and
Yeah.
places like that to start from, which is absolutely still the way I cosplay.
Yeah.
So,
I think that's one of the best aspects of growing up in a creative household is that
mm,
from an early age they kind of train you to not uh just accept what's in front of you for what it is, but to be like to see the potential in things, to be
yeah,
yeah, we have, scraps of fabric and we have a sewing machine and we have inspiration or all that kind of stuff. let's put it together and see what we come up with, you know, because that's the same thing for me in my creative like household, because my parents were both
Yeah.
artists, so it was always like, let's just do it ourselves, you know, we could do that, you know, we don't need to buy Star Wars toys, we'll just get these like, you know, oatmeal boxes and then make our own Star Wars toys, and it's like, all right, cool, and it like, you know, would work out. So it's like, and as an adult, I'm sure it's the same for you, because you know, you said that you like start off with goodwill, you know, when it comes to cosplay and everything. But same thing, you know, for me is that like, you know, yeah, I'm sure I could do this, and like, so it's like pretty cool. That's awesome. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And then, um, for tabletop RPGs, because that's where I know you from. So kind of a selfish
Yeah.
question. What was your first introduction to tabletop RPGs?
Yeah. So my first introduction to tabletop role-playing games was in college. Um, I, you know, I'd always been a nerd, but like didn't have a group of friends in high school that actually played Dungeons and Dragons or
Yeah.
anything like that. Um, so the first time I heard people talking about like, oh, we're doing a one shot and we like need another person, I was like, me. I want to play. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I want to do it. I'm
Yeah.
gonna do it. And it was one shot in D&D third edition, but with
Mm.
a module from second edition for
Wow.
Ravenloft. Yeah. And I think I played like a half orc barbarian because they were like, this is the easiest, just run around and hit
Yeah. Just
things.
yeah.
But yeah, it went terribly and I had so much fun. Um I also love telling people that the first time I played D&D was in a cemetery because technically we
Oh,
did
really?
like yeah.
That's so good. It's just like those old like pamphlets of like your kids will get turned on to Satan if you play D&D. It's like now you're playing it actually at a
Oh
cemetery. It's so
yeah,
good.
yeah. I think it's a cemetery. Which one doesn't have a church attached to it? A graveyard or a cemetery?
That's a good question. I feel like a graveyard is the one without one. I think maybe, but
Maybe it was a graveyard.
yeah.
Yeah.
Still,
My
either one is like that's so cool. That's like hardcore. Oh my god.
yeah, it was a beautiful sunny day, and it's like a 200-year-old little plot of mostly grass and some headstones that was like at the edge of campus. But
Yeah.
we thought we were very cool sitting there amongst the graves and playing our D&Ds.
You know the ghosts are like, what nerds? This is
I
like,
know,
yeah, floating around. It's so good.
absolutely. But yeah, that was the first time I played D&D or a TTRPG, and
Yeah.
then pretty soon after that I joined a Pathfinder campaign, and that lasted like
Mm.
2.5 or 3 years, and that was so
Wow.
wonderful. Yeah, that was like all of college for me, and it was amazing. We played the same campaign like once or twice a month, you know, just like
Yeah.
all day on Saturday. um
Lucky. Oh my god. Those are my favorite
yeah,
memories of ordering pizza and then like soda and just like just immersing yourself in the fantasy. It's like so good.
absolutely. Yeah.
Dang. Okay, cool. So,
Yeah.
um, so you are a fellow content creator, and oftentimes as content creators, we can find ourselves working like beyond our limits and ultimately burning out. So what are your own like self-care techniques to ensure that you are like, you know, avoiding burning out and you know, maintaining your mental health?
Oh my gosh, that's a great question. And I actually really want to hear your answer after mine
Yeah, yeah, go
because
for it. Yeah, that's
you do
fine.
so many things. Um, but yeah, for me, it really looks like not taking on too many streams a week. And it took a while to figure out what was going to be too many.
Yeah.
But, you know, and like being okay with saying no to things, which is
Yeah.
really tough when you're also like trying to meet all the people and like make the connections and play with your friends and like do all the things. um and it's not like a it's not clout based, you know. I
Yeah.
think you probably had the same experience of me. It's like it's not like, oh, I want to say I played with that person,
Hmm.
but you know, it's like, no, but like I know all these people from watching them and from like D&D Twitter
Yeah.
and from Twitch, and it's just like, oh my gosh, they're great. I want to play with them, you know?
Yeah.
And like, oh, this person plays in like a regular game with that person who I'm like a huge fan of. Of course, I want to play a charity game if this person's in it, you know?
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, now I'm one separation from my like nerdy idols.
TTRPG, yeah, exactly. Which is so funny when you think of the tabletop RPG like realm in the
Yeah.
entertainment industry as a whole, they still are like the D&D nerds. They're like the all the way down. So it's like so funny who gets so wild and wrapped up in it. But it's cool, yeah.
Yeah. But like no number one for me is just like knowing my limit
Yeah.
on like a weekly and a monthly basis, and like being able to sort of pump the brakes when needed and self-correct and say I'm booked.
Yeah.
um and then um I think the other big thing of like finding and maintaining balance for me is like keeping things well rounded,
Yeah.
because I started off with just making cosplay content, and COVID was really like the turning point for me
Yeah.
in my content journey, and like the way I stream and the things that I stream, all that stuff. um because I was mostly using I was almost exclusively using my channel for like maker streams.
Yeah.
And then when lockdown hit, it was immediately like every convention for the next 6 months was just getting canceled,
Mm-hmm.
canceled. I was like, I was working on these costumes for things that no longer exist, and like after 3 4 5 weeks, it's like I don't know if
Yeah. Who am I?
when
What
it's
do
gonna
I?
come
Yeah.
back. So like it's sad to be like, oh, I'll make it for the rescheduled date, when the rescheduled things kept getting destroyed, and it's
Yeah.
like, but that was about the time that was, yeah, exactly the time that I had started it was supposed to be a once a month monthly campaign
Yeah.
on Total Party Chill, the Monday night indie stream. Um, and we were like, hey, if we're gonna be on lockdown for a few more weeks and we're doing this remotely, do you want to
You
just
down to
stream
keep
every
playing?
week?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You want to not do it once a month? Because we would really like to get together more. It's just like tough with commuting and schedules and where people lived and getting to the studio. Like we were filming all together,
Yeah.
if you can imagine that. um and then suddenly I had a weekly TTRPG stream. um at that point it was really easy to get like fully sucked into the wave of like TTRPG
Yeah.
Twitter and Discords and Twitch channels, and like there's no way in our niche to keep up with what everyone's doing.
Mm-hmm.
When everyone has when the main form of content is a ongoing months long 3+ hours a session
Yeah.
sort of thing, like there's just no way.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, another big part of like not burning out has been trying to pull things like cosplay back into my content.
Yeah.
And I got my beautiful piano last
Oh,
February.
nice. Yeah.
I know. It was my 30th birthday present from my mom.
Ooh, that's so good.
Yeah. And so, being able to do music on stream has been really amazing.
Yeah.
And like given just another angle of like my personal streams have become my like chill, cool down, decompression space almost.
Yeah.
And then when I'm on a stream on someone else's channel, it's like, okay, we're here to like have fun, but also to like focus and go. And
Yeah.
like too much of that, I think, for me would burn me out.
Yeah, it's the same thing for me a lot, because like for me, I before I got into tabletop RPGs, I was also in the convention scene. I would interview
Yeah,
cosplayers. Like that was the biggest
right.
thing that I would do, and go to conventions and review them, and everything was going really well. So when COVID came around, I was one of the first ones that's like, this is gonna wreck everything. Like this is like the future is gonna be us not doing conventions. And everyone was like, "That's not true. That's not true. It can't be true because that means that like my whole brand is gone, and then like all that kind of stuff." And I'm like, "Oh, that sucked." And at the time, I was already like hosting in person like D&D charity events and all kind of stuff. So moving it over to Zoom was a whole other beast that I like never encountered before, because it used to be just like setting up a webcam and then like having an overlay and that's it. But now it was like getting everyone on Zoom, making sure people had stable internet connections and like all that sort of stuff. So anyways, um yeah, there definitely was a time when I started to get into the tabletop RPG scene that I would have a week that would had like 4 or 5 streams like every single day, back to back to back, and that burnt me out so fast because you have to like exude so much creative energy when you're like doing role play, especially if you're a dungeon master. That's even more. So for me, the way that I like sort of avoid burnout is one by allowing myself to have what I want, like what my soul needs essentially, without any sort of guilt or any sort of like, weird pressure. So, uh, I'm just like my mother, and she's an emotional eater, so I'm an emotional eater. So, whenever I feel like down or out or like, whatever, I go to Whataburger and just like, give me a patty melt and a strawberry milkshake and then like all that sort of stuff. And like, I feel instantly better. Granted, it's like not healthy, but still. And then,
Food is
uh,
food. Food is food is food.
exactly, yeah. And for me, it's like soul food. It like really nourishes me. And the other thing is to that I now, same as you, now I only take on projects that I genuinely feel like I want to do, because I can no longer like justify lying to myself, of being like, all right, I'll say yes to this thing, but I don't really want to do it, because my heart isn't in it, and you can see it in like whatever I'm sort of doing. And it's horrible because I'm a terrible liar. So if I'm not enjoying a stream, you can see it on camera, and I'm just like, no, I can't do that anymore. Like if I don't like, if it's not a hell, it's yeah. What my mother always says is it's either in life it's either a hell yes or a no. There's no in between. Like you're just cheating yourself and everyone else if you choose otherwise. So that's like now what I swear by is that like if I do a stream, it's got to be a hell yes. So
Gosh,
yeah.
that's such a good motto. The hell
Right.
yes or a no.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's been helping me out a lot. So especially in this situation where like you said, like I'm managing so many projects or whatever, but it's all things that I love doing. So it's like it takes that emotional energy like off a little bit. It's still there, but still. And yeah. So that's like what's been going on. So that's good. That's good to hear though. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I know that you've accomplished so much during your career, as a
Mhm.
cosplayer, as a tabletop RPGer, and all this kind of stuff. But I also know that there has to have been some L's along the way, some moments that, like, whether it was a situation where you're like, I have all of my stuff together, I've done my research, done my prepping, and everything like that, and it still went bad, or if it was a situation where it's like, you know what, that was my fault. Like honestly, that was my bad. So and what was the L that was the biggest for you that you felt like you learned from, which my friend, the first person I ever interviewed like on this series called Eliana Murillo, said it best when it goes, L's no longer stand for losses, they stand for lessons. So what was that biggest L for you in your career?
I love that. Um, in the TTRPG space, I'm thinking specifically of one session that I ran. Um, and it was one of my first, not my first, but one
Yeah.
of my first times GMing. And um there were just there were so many things that went wrong.
Oh, really?
I prepared a lot,
Yeah.
but I realize in retrospect that I didn't prepare correctly because I prepared for different sorts of players than I had.
Yeah.
And, it was on me. And I think that's one of like the difficult but really enticing things
Yeah.
about TTRPG is that every time you play with a different group of people,
Yeah.
not just like pull in a different person, but like a different group, it's gonna there are gonna be different group dynamics.
Yeah.
Um, and so yeah, I had 5 players, and they were all in the same location. I started them off all in the same location. um, and they were all they were all like the same sort of role
Yeah.
in that location. So it was like there's other people here who are also like you, but like you're kind of a group already. Hey.
Yeah.
And we went the full 3-hour session without a critical mass of like 2+ in the same conversation, even, and like in the same place.
Yeah.
Like they were just in one house even, but one of them was always like, well, I'm going to follow this upstairs, hasn't even met the rest of the characters. And then this one is like, oh well, my band is still having their set, so I'm gonna, like, I gotta
You're
stay
just
right
like,
here. I'm like,
guys. Yeah.
that is what you would do, and I can't even fault you for it, but like I didn't give them a good enough reason
Mhm.
to get together.
Yeah.
um and I didn't communicate well enough with them on breaks either, of like, hey, I need you to party up, and
Yeah.
so I think that was like a big turning point and growth moment for
Mhm.
me, and like gaining enough confidence as a GM
Yeah.
to tell my players that I need them to do something, especially in a streamed game.
Yeah.
um and also not even just planning for things that will go wrong,
Mhm.
but like looking at things from another 2 layers back, and like my plans, and being like, but why would they do the thing that you want them to do,
Yeah.
and like really trying to like crack down on like, this player's prime motivation will be this, so put it over here
Mhm.
if you want them to go there.
Yeah, it's like the writing chops come out, it's like, all right, what is a plausible reason that would, organically, yeah, yeah. I feel that in my
Yeah.
soul, dude, because I've been through that too. To
Yeah. And
that
it
way,
ended up like a really fun
yeah.
session for the players, I think. I mean, they enjoyed it, and
Yeah.
like a lot of them I've had back, and like it's been great. But like those 5 specifically were just like herding cats, and I was too new of a GM and too, you know,
Yeah.
subconscious of my,
Ash
ability
Ketchum
to
and
be the
Charizard.
director.
Yeah.
Yeah, to be like, wait, no, no, you need to be here. Talk to
Yeah.
each other. Talk to each other.
So good. I feel that so much because um one of the biggest L's for me, and at least in the tabletop RPG sphere, and this is a very minor one because like hardly anyone saw it and everything, which was totally fine. But I was like organizing a charity stream, and I had my cast together, and the cast was made up of like smaller time cosplayers, who like genuinely loved Dungeons and Dragons, so they knew the rules. They like already were down to role play. They were very emotionally invested in it. They wanted to do it, and
Oh,
then I was like super gung ho about having another like friend of mine who's in the cosplay realm and everything, who was like a massive, well, not a massively big cosplayer, but they were pretty big, like 100,000 plus followers and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, oh my god, if I get them on this like channel, be great, it'll be a super awesome experience because like they'll be able to bring their like essential clout, and then they'll be able to raise a lot of money and all that kind of stuff, and it'll be really cool. And I'm a pretty good like
mhm.
dungeon master, so I can make it a good time or whatever, and like it'll be great, and it'll be awesome. So she was like, yeah, I'll do it. But then it was like a nightmare of a session because like like the player, she had played Dungeons and Dragons before, but it had been a while, so she didn't review any of the materials, and like didn't have a character made, and then like didn't know how to do anything. And I like was stupid and wrote the story to like kind of like have her as a center, like the focal point or whatever, so that way she felt special because she was like giving her time and all energy over. But it turned out to be like the worst decision ever. And
Oh
in
no.
turn, yeah, the other supporting cast were like leaps and bounds better than her. So like the viewers were having a great time whenever that one cosplayer was not talking. And like it got to the point, yeah, where that cosplayer was just like checked out, where she was like on her phone, didn't like care at all about
Oh,
anything or
that
whatever, even though
sucks.
we tried to get her involved and all that kind of stuff. So it was a big learning point for me that like, you know what, I need to pick people who like actually want to be here, because that speaks that is a way different, you know, experience and than just finding people for
Mhm.
clout, you know. So that was like, after that I was like, never again, you know. I'd rather have someone who's like a no name with barely any followers who wants to be there than like, you know, like Jessica Negri or something like that, who
Yeah.
like doesn't care at all. So yeah, that was one of my big sells. So I feel you in that dungeon master like issue. So yeah, so pivoting over to
Hmm.
the other end of the spectrum,
Yeah.
what was one of your favorite W's that you take the most pride in? Whether it was a situation of like, you know, no one cares about this at all except for me, but it meant the world to me, or a big accolade that you're like super proud of. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it be in cosplay or tabletop RPGs. Yeah.
In cosplay, it's definitely making my Wonder Woman costume
Oh, yeah.
because, yeah, that was my first like real foam smithing. It was my
Yeah.
first real, like big weapon prop. I made the like God Killer sword. Um, it was my first time like custom dyeing fabrics and drafting up a pattern
Yeah.
for something like really screen accurate by myself. It was my first time uh, leather working.
Wow. Yeah.
I like made all the straps on her shoes. They're like big, um, like what do you call them? Like gladiator sandals.
Yeah.
um and it's it was came together to be everything I wanted it to be,
Yeah.
and that so rarely happens.
Oh, that's so cool. What?
Because
Which con did you
not
run?
in a sad way, but in
Yeah.
like a, I shoot for the moon and expect to land among the stars,
Yeah.
but like this one I like shot for Saturn and actually got there and I was like, holy shit, we're here.
We did it. Yeah. That's so good. What convention was it for? Like what year?
I think the first time I wore it was Dragon Con 2017. So it's been a
Okay.
while.
Definitely gonna check out the
And I'm
Instagram and
trying,
like try to find that. Yeah. It was super cool.
I reposted a lot. I love
Okay,
it.
good, good. Yeah.
And it's like falling apart now because it's literally made out of like 2 millimeter like craft foam
Yeah.
that I heated and formed and glued. So it's deteriorating. But
Yeah.
um it was such a good experience to like wear that to that convention, and it was the summer after the first Wonder Woman movie had come out. um and there were a whole bunch of um really badass women who were either cosplaying as Wonder Woman or
Yeah.
as other Amazons from the movie. And there was like this whole meetup, and like just like the feeling of a whole crowd
Yeah.
of warrior women um like cheering you on is incredible. So
Oh, that's amazing. Oh my god. That's
yeah,
so cool.
I love group cosplay moments for that. I really, really like group cosplay.
Yeah, it like I miss and like am also okay with conventions not like being a thing that much, you know, because of those moments, those like intimate moments where you're around people who have a shared interest that like hella love the same thing you do, you know. And then yeah, so group cosplays are amazing. Like, oh my god, that's so cool. So what geeky passions like fueled you and your creativity that made you who you are today, both as a cosplayer and also in the TTRPG realm?
Mm. Um, the geeky passions that got me into cosplay were definitely number one, Star Wars.
Ooh, nice. Yeah.
Uh, yeah. Um, Number two, the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yep.
that all of those started dropping like right before I got into college, and so many good outfits, you know,
Yeah.
so many good options. It feels weird that like my, I don't know, signature cosplay look is Wonder Woman because it's DC and like I don't do anything else DC. But
Yeah.
I'm a Marvel geek. Um and really like sci-fi fantasy.
Yeah.
Um yeah, like Lord of the Rings, um a lot of well, Harry Potter, but not anymore.
Yeah.
Um, but I loved that growing up. Holy crap! I
Yeah. I
like
think we
taught
all
myself
did. Yeah.
cursive and like how to like write with an ink pen so
Yeah.
that I could like write with quills and all of that. Um, I had a big Hermione complex.
That's amazing.
But I was, you know, a little kid with like protruding front teeth and like curly, frizzy, dark hair.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's me.
Representation.
And I
Yeah.
was a smart kid. So,
Mhm.
like, I was living for it.
So I feel you. I was on those like guy online forums, like doing Harry Potter RPGs, ARPs. Yeah.
Oh, yes, the forums. But
Yeah.
yeah, honestly, that's, I think, like the start of TTRPG for me
Mm-hmm.
was the forum RPs.
Yep.
I would spend so long though on like making my character
Mm-hmm.
for those forums and like putting together their like aesthetic and
Yep.
their like clothing board and like what font color they would write in.
It was helping us become
And
better writers, stronger writers. Yeah.
yeah, and then they would all fizzle out after like three posts. It's
Mm-hmm.
like on to the next one.
Or you'd have that one person that had to be like super overpowered and you couldn't do anything to ever. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always the worst. So it's so
Play
good.
by post is rough, but like yeah, I don't know. I would you go back to play by post if there was like a group that wanted to play Emerald Templars or something else?
I mean, honestly, yeah, because like when you got a good one going and
Hmm.
everyone kind of like respected everyone else's boundaries and there were rules that were followed,
Yeah.
it was a lot of fun. It was really, really engaging. And it was a situation where you could do it on your own time. So you would like, live your life and then go back and check it and then be able to see and then reply and all that. So like I would be down to do it again. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's also like the instant gratification of having a group around you.
Yes, yeah, for sure. That immediate feedback, and then
Yeah.
the actual facial expressions, yeah, are really
Yeah.
killer. So it's good.
But it is stressful to be like, I got to know right now
Hmm.
what the best thing is to do. You know, that I
Hmm.
think was one of the hardest things and to like get over and like push myself past when it comes to streaming TTRPGs
Yeah,
is like it's always more engaging for the audience
yeah.
to have someone do something right away, even if it isn't the correct thing
Hmm.
to do, you know?
For okay,
Uh,
like
and
re-
that's tough.
yeah, real talk, like having tabletop RPGs as like a performer, like can be a career where you get into the bigger like stuff and you get paid for the every episode and
Mhm.
all that kind of stuff and
Mhm.
everything. But like for me, it's this weird, and I think it's the same thing as the indie community as well, where it's like there's a part of it where it's like, oh, this is just a hobby for me and I don't really want to make money from it, so I'm just gonna like doing it for the fun of it. And there's another half that's like, no, I actually would really love to be up there with B Dave Walters and like with Abria and like all these different people, like Critical Role Status and all that kind of stuff. But in order to get to that point, you need to refine your skills as an actor, and be able to really learn what they do that captivates an audience, sort of thing. And that's so intimidating because it's
Yeah.
like I didn't get in this for acting. I got in this for like because I wanted to play a orc or like paladin, sort of
Yeah.
thing. So yeah, so I find
But
myself go for it.
oh, no, no, no.
So I find myself whenever I make a character, I try to think of those pivotal moments like emotionally and figure out like where it comes from and like have monologues already like sort of planned out in my head. That way whenever it comes up organically, it's like flow and then everyone's like, "You thought of that on the fly? Wow." And it's like sort of like it was really in the shower. So
That's so smart.
Yeah, it helps, you know. That way you have it like in your pocket, like ready to go, and like because yeah, I've been in there with where there'll be like like because everyone tries their hardest in a stream, and there's times where an emotional scene is like organically happening,
Mhm.
but there's like no one's prepared for it, so we all kind of like fumble and try to make it work, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I always think about like how can we make that easier for everyone and like without like having it scripted. So it's a struggle though. It's a
Right,
definite
right.
yeah.
It's a tough balance. But I was just gonna argue with you because you said I'm not an actor. I was gonna say, but you're a storyteller,
Yeah.
and it's like it's a fine line, because with story, like if you're writing something down, you can sit and think about it for a while.
Yeah.
But I think there's a lot of the same DNA in those skills,
Yeah,
you know?
they definitely yeah, improv is the main thing of
Yeah.
like yeah, being able to
Improv's
just
scary.
it is. It's so scary, and oh my god, I have to like pre-plan everything, and then I can thrive, you know. So it's like,
Yeah.
and I like lean to for me at least personally. Whenever I feel uncomfortable or don't know what to do, I always resort to comedy. But there was a situation where like okay, so last year
Hmm.
like like my wildest dreams came true where I got invited to play on D&D Beyond's like Jasper Day event with like Tiny to Pass, Critical Bard, and a bunch of other like high profile people. Like my legit idols were like at the table like or on Zoom with me and everything, and I resorted to what I know best, which is comedy. So I like cracked a joke and then Critical Bard like shut it down, and I was like, oh, this is a different table. Like this is like what I applied in the indie scene is not what I have to like can apply here. So I had to immediately change my gear and shift to, and I found like a good medium after that. But it was a good like introduction that whatever ammunition I'm packing, it won't always hit right for whatever situation or whatever. Yeah, so it was a big learning moment for sure. But yeah, okay. So what advice? So let's say you go back in time and to that young girl who like idolized Hermione and like was super all about that and was like wondering where she was gonna go in life and all everything. What advice would you give yourself
Mm.
on how to live your best life and to like let me save you a lot of hardship if you just do this sort of one thing. Yeah, what would that piece of advice be?
Just try it.
Yeah,
You don't know if you'll like it or if you'll be good at it or if you can like get good at it until you try it. And that's something that really slowed me down in cosplay
yeah,
before I started streaming it actually was like not knowing how to start because I was afraid of messing it up before I even started.
yeah,
Um and I feel like turning the camera on and having a set stream time and like people who I'm interacting with, who I'm, making that social contract with of like, hey, I'm going to be making this, not thinking about it, not
yeah,
planning on it. There's so many cosplays that I have so like intricately planned out. I had like the links saved for different fabrics and like sketches of how to do it and like dimensions and
yeah,
all this stuff, but I never actually did it because I was like afraid to make that step into making it real.
yeah,
Doing things on Twitch has like given me the I don't know about excuse, but given me the opportunity to
mhm,
say, I'm not putzing around anymore.
yeah,
I'm gonna, try it my way, this way that I thought of. And like, if it doesn't work out, then it's a learning experience.
yeah,
But it also became important to me to like be someone on Twitch and in the cosplay scene in 2018 when I started,
yeah,
who was like, I don't have perfect costumes. Like, I don't know what I'm doing every step of the way, and that's okay. You
yeah,
don't have to have, a beautiful, intricately crafted, professionally photographed cosplay
Yeah.
for every day of the week to call yourself a cosplayer and to be, you know, a meaningful part of this community. You can be hot gluing things together and still figuring it out.
Yeah.
Um, and you know, I've been doing that for over 10 years, and I I think the important parts is that you're enjoying it and, you know, making it a better space for the other people in there. So
Yeah, that's good. That's super good advice. Oh my gosh. Yeah,
oh,
because
thanks.
what I always think about, and what helps me at least with my anxiety whenever I'm working on, because before I had like crippling anxiety where it's like if this fails, no one's gonna like me ever again, and they're gonna like never want to talk to me or anything like that. But now it's like if this fails, it's not gonna be the end all be all. If it's like successful, it's also not gonna be the end all be all. Like, you know, this one thing will not make or break me. You know, so there'll be many more projects after this.
Yeah.
So it's good to just be able to be like, let's give it our best shot, and like if it doesn't work, that's cool, you know. So that's really good advice. Oh my god, that's super
Oh,
good.
thanks.
So okay, where can we find you online?
You can find me everywhere at Guilty Cosplay. Um, so I am on Twitch, usually Sundays and Tuesdays, like 9 p.m. Mountain, but actually Arizona.
Yeah,
So after like March 13th, it'll be
Pacific Standard
Pacific.
Time. Yeah,
Yeah. So 9 o'clock Arizona. Monday nights on Total Party Chill. Every Monday of the week we do every Monday of the week. Yeah, yeah. That sounded weird coming out of my
no, it's
mouth,
fine. You're
but
good. You're good. Own it.
yeah,
You're good. Yeah.
every Monday. I'm part of an indie stream called Under the Table, and either the main cast or a special like fifth Monday group will be on playing a one shot. And that's always fun. Just, you know, check out a new system, learn something new. Um, I'm on Twitter at Guilty Cosplay. I'm on Instagram. I got a Discord channel. I'm on YouTube. I got to start uploading more, but
Oh,
you know, on
cool. Yeah.
YouTube. And I think that's about it. The big thing on my YouTube channel is my monthly Monster Hearts game.
Yeah.
Is I'm very proud of. Um, but we need to play again. I missed January because I had COVID.
Yeah.
But I'm holding on to that excuse until 2 days from now, and then it's February, and I gotta start playing the
You're like, all
February
right, I
game.
guess I gotta get a plan. Yeah, exactly. And for Kate bots in chat, Arizona's fine. It's the rest of the country that needs to like work on their
Exactly.
daylight savings time issue. So, uh, I,
Dated.
I don't know if you've ever seen any of my interviews before, of like stuff I've done in the past, but at the end of every interview, I like to take a moment to give you like genuine like good vibes and appreciation, all that kind of stuff. So I want to say this with all my heart. Guilty Cosplay, you are amazing. You are wonderful in every single way. I want you to remember that you are the main character of this anime and not inside character. So please bring that main character energy to 2022. And you are a delight to work with. And you're super crazy talented. So please, whatever it is that you want to do in 2022, just aim for that. And just like the Wonder Woman cosplay, you're going to hit it. Like, no problem at all. So thank you for being here.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. I appreciate it so much.
Of course, yeah. And then perfect. So make sure to follow Guilty Cosplay on all her social medias. She's a super talented cosplayer and tabletop RPG streamer. Thank you again for joining us. If you ever want to be a guest on Mandatory Fun Time to be interviewed or have suggestions, please drop them down in the Discord. That way we're able to celebrate the awesomeness of good, wonderful people. And we will see you guys later. And hope you guys have a great night. Bye.